In this video, we're going to share with you a super delicious comfort dish, wontons in chili oil. Wrapping wontons is a super fun process. We'll show you several ways to make wontons. It doesn't require any complicated skills or ingredients, so if you've never made any, don't be scared to give it a try. The results always turn out so much better than takeout. First, let's prepare the filling. We're making a pork and shrimp filling today. All of the ingredients are listed on the screen. We usually make it in a large amount and freeze it for later, and this amount can make about 100 wontons. We will need 3 stalks of scallions. Chop them into 4 sections like shown. The majority of them will be used for the filling. Finally chop all of the green parts and save some later for garnish. Next, add the white part of the scallion, a few slices of ginger, and 1 tablespoon of Sichuan peppercorn into a container. Add 1 cup of boiling hot water and soak them for about 5 minutes. This spiced water will be used to marinate the pork filling later on. Next, chop 12 ounces of shrimp into small pieces. Make sure the shrimp is fully deveined, otherwise it will have an unpleasant flavor. In a bowl, add 1.5 pounds of ground pork and the chopped shrimp. To season this, add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, 1 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. Lastly, crack 1 egg into the bowl. Then, let's check on our spice water. It has fully infused the flavor and scent from the spices. Add the water into the pork mixture slowly. Mix until the pork absorbs the water and then add more. I usually do it about 3 times. Add about 1/3 cup of water at a time. This spiced water will make the pork filling taste great and be so juicy, and it will also prevent you from biting into a piece of ginger or Sichuan peppercorn. Now this filling is full of water, add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch so that it locks in the water. Mix this well, and then we're ready for the last step. Add the chopped scallion and pour hot oil on top of it. For the oil, just heat up about 1/2 cup. You can use a chopstick to tell if the oil is hot by sticking it in there and seeing if it bubbles. Mix everything well until the scallion oil is fully absorbed. You may think, this is a lot of work, but I swear this filling is the best and will guarantee your wontons will turn out to be a great success. It's totally worth the time and effort to make it. Let's move on to the wonton wrapper. We're going to use a store-bought one that we found in a local Asian market. When the skin was frozen, it's very hard, like a stone. But once it's at room temperature, it becomes soft and easy to work with. Here are several ways to wrap wontons. Option 1, it looks like this. Place a teaspoon of filling in the center of the wrapper. Dip your finger into some water and wet the sides of the square. Fold it in half and make sure each of the sides are sealed. The water here will work like a glue. Wet one of the bottom corners of the small rectangle and twist and stick together with another corner. Option 2 is similar to the first one, but it's a triangle. You'll just need to wet 2 sides of the square. Instead of folding it horizontally, we're going to fold it diagonally and make it into a triangle. And then dab a bit of water on one of the triangle's corners and fold them together. Here's what option number 3 looks like. Place the filling in the center, wet 2 sides and roll it, and then press to seal the 2 sides. Then add more water to the sides and fold it into the center. Let's look at option number 4, which is an easy one. Just wet the center of each side and twist all of it together. And then press to enclose the wonton. It's like a little bag. If you've already lost your patience when watching this, just simply fold it in half and close. In the end, it'll look like this when it's cooked. It's not that bad, right? There are many different ways to wrap wontons. It should just be a very casual process. We've only shown you a couple ways here, but you can be as creative as you want to be. No matter what kind of method you choose, it'll always turn out great. To store the wontons, lay them on a baking sheet with some parchment paper and then freeze them for about 1 hour. Once it cools down, the surface will be dry and they won't stick together and can easily be stacked together and stored in a bag. This big bag of wontons can last for a long time. In the end, you may have extra of either the skin or filling left once the others run out. If you have extra skin, you can cover it up and place them in a freezer and save it for next time. If you have extra filling, just toss them on a skillet and use it for a great taco meat. Now let's come back to how we made this spicy wonton dish. In a bowl, add 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of Chinese dark vinegar, a sprinkle of sugar, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, several tablespoons of chili oil, depending on how spicy you want the dish to be. I usually add about 4 tablespoons, and it's quite spicy. To make the chili oil, the easiest way is just to add some Sichuan red chili powder to a bowl with a pinch of salt and some hot oil in it. Once it cools down, it'll be ready to use. If you want to be more flavorful, besides the chili powder, you can also add some sesame seeds, scallion, and minced garlic to infuse the oil. But you can also use the store-bought one, which I think this kind of oil is so hard to taste bad. Doesn't matter what brand you buy, it all tastes great. Back to the wontons. To cook it, just boil some water and toss the wontons in. Gently stir it to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. When it boils again, add a cup of cold water so that the wontons can keep cooking while the skin won't break because of the high temperature. Repeat this process twice. At the end, add 2 scoops of boiling water into the sauce to dilute it. You can also add some green leaf veggies to make this meal more balanced. Drain the water, add the wonton and the greens into the bowl, and mix it well. Garnish with spring onions, and voila, that's the spicy wonton dish. It's so flavorful. The spiciness combines so well with the freshness of the shrimp and the pork, and the skin is so silky and smooth. Together it makes such a nice combination. Especially the pork filling. We put so much work into the marinade and it turns out so great. It's so juicy and delicious. Thank you so much for watching until the end. We hope you enjoy this wonton recipe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future recipes.